In 2016, a 12-year-old boy in Siberia died from anthrax infection. And I know that doesn't sound like a 2016 problem. Anthrax outbreaks were supposed to be a 19th century thing, before vaccines, before modern sanitation. But there it was. The cause? A heatwave had thawed a stretch of permafrost that had been frozen since the last major anthrax outbreak in the region, over 75 years earlier. Inside that frozen ground was a reindeer carcass. And inside that carcass, Bacillus anthracis had been waiting, in spore form, perfectly preserved. When I first heard this, I honestly assumed it was a thought experiment, but no, it's already happened. And as permafrost and glaciers melt faster than at any point in recorded history, scientists are asking a question that sounds like the start of a movie. What else is frozen in there? Permafrost is ground that stays frozen year-round, not just in winter but permanently. It covers about a quarter of the Northern Hemisphere's land surface, most of Siberia, large parts of Canada and Alaska, and patches of the Tibetan Plateau. And it essentially becomes a biological archive. Cold temperatures, low oxygen, and the absence of decomposition mean that organisms, bacteria, viruses, even larger parasites, can be preserved inside permafrost for tens of thousands of years. And as you can probably guess, it's melting. The Arctic is warming roughly 4 times faster than the global average. For a pathogen to survive thousands of years frozen, it needs one of 2 things: an exceptionally tough physical form or a host that keeps it sheltered. Some bacteria, like Bacillus subtilis, which I mentioned in my backrooms biology video, and Bacillus anthracis, the anthrax bacterium, can form endospores when conditions get hostile. These are dormancy structures. The bacterium essentially packages its DNA and core machinery into a hardened shell and shuts down almost all metabolic activity. Endospores have survived in permafrost and even in salt crystals for hundreds of thousands of years. When conditions improve, warmth, moisture, and nutrients, they can germinate back into active bacteria. In 2023, French researchers revived what some are calling a zombie virus from Siberian permafrost that had been frozen for 48,500 years, the oldest virus ever successfully reactivated. It's called Pandoravirus eudoma, and it belongs to a class of unusually large viruses that infect amoebas, not humans. But its revival proved the concept. Viral particles can retain infectivity across geological timescales under the right preservation conditions. The key phrase there is infect amoebas, not humans. Most of what's frozen is not a direct human threat. And the zombie moniker is because the viruses themselves are being awoken from their graves, not that they have the ability to eat your brain. But ultimately, the point isn't just what we found, it's what we haven't found yet. Let's be precise about what scientists are actually concerned about, because this is an area where it's easy to veer into either dismissal or overclaim. The 2016 Siberian outbreak infected 2,000 plus reindeer and dozens of people, hospitalizing 72. Anthrax spores are robust enough that this is a well-documented, repeatable risk as permafrost thaws in regions where animal die-offs occurred historically. Siberian researchers have found anthrax-positive permafrost samples in multiple locations. Smallpox was eradicated in 1980, but historical burial sites in Siberia, particularly from the 17th and 18th centuries when smallpox epidemics killed large proportions of indigenous populations, are now thawing. Researchers have detected fragments of variola DNA in some samples. Full viability hasn't been confirmed, but the question has been taken seriously enough that it's featured in peer-reviewed papers. A 2023 study sequenced ancient DNA from 13,000-year-old permafrost and found genetic material from hundreds of unknown viruses. Not dangerous by default, most viruses don't even infect humans, but they represent a reservoir of biological diversity we have never characterized, being released into ecosystems that have no recent evolutionary experience with them. So, scientists are concerned, but definitely not at the stage where they're giving a high possibility of a permafrost pandemic. The general consensus seems to be this is a non-trivial risk factor we are not monitoring well enough in a system that's changing faster than our ability to study it. There's something specific about this that I thought fits the liminal science vibe on this channel so well. Permafrost is an archive. It stores information, biological information, from worlds that no longer exist. The ecosystems above it have changed completely. The animals it contains are extinct. The humans buried in it live in civilizations with no connection to ours. And now, because of decisions made in boardrooms and parliaments and everyday consumption patterns, that archive is opening. The most unsettling version of this isn't the monster movie scenario of one deadly virus escaping. It's the slower, quieter version, gradual ecological disruption from biological material that our current ecosystems haven't encountered for thousands of generations, seeping out unnoticed into soil, water, and air. In the end, the 2016 anthrax outbreak was contained. The boys' community was vaccinated, the reindeer herds were culled. All in all, it was a mostly successful outbreak response. But the next one might not be anthrax, which we have a vaccine for. It might be something we've never seen before, because the last time anything alive encountered it, nothing we'd recognize as human existed yet. I'm curious what kind of environment you'd want me to look at next. Drop it in the comments, and if this kind of science is your thing, subscribe because I have so many liminal science ideas to come. Thank you.